Okay, let's go.
Hello warriors, welcome back to Locha on Dialysis. Today we are going to break down the cost of kidney transplant at Kenyatta National Hospital using the Social Health Authority, also known as SHA, to cover the surgery, while also highlighting the hidden and the unexpected charges or costs when you want to do a kidney transplant in a public hospital in Kenya. You know, for many of us on dialysis, the hope of a kidney transplant feels like the light at the end of a very dark tunnel. At Kenyatta National Hospital, a transplant is possible. And thanks to the Social Health Authority, also known as SHA, formerly NHIF, part of the burden is lifted from the patients. But the truth is, the journey is not as simple as many imagine. Let's talk about the real cost of kidney transplant at Kenyatta National Hospital. The first thing you have to do as you prepare for your kidney transplant, that is after you found a donor, is pre-transplant workup. These are the tests you do in preparation for the surgery. Before you even go to surgery, there are endless tests such as blood typing, tissue matching, viral screenings, heart checks and scans. Some of these tests are covered by SHA, but many specialized ones are not. The cost of the pre-workup tests can go up to 50,000 to 150,000 depending on the complications. And remember, the figures I'm mentioning here only apply to Kenyatta National Hospital. Other facilities, we are going to look into them later, but for now we're only looking at Kenyatta National Hospital. So pre-workup tests will take you between 50,000 to 150,000 Kenya shillings to complete all the tests. Then we go to the second part of the process, which is donor evaluation. If you are lucky enough to have a willing donor, their tests are separate. The tests that a willing donor is going to undertake include medical scans, lab tests, to physiological assessments. Most of these are out of pocket and can add another 30,000 to 80,000 Kenya shillings to your budget. So, for your donor, Your donor needs at least 30,000 to 80,000 Kenya shillings for donor evaluation. Now, the next part of the process is the surgery itself. The most important part is the surgery itself. Here, SHA helps. The Social Health Authority helps. The main transplant procedure at Kenyatta National Hospital is covered up to a certain limit by SHA. But still, there are charges for consumables, ICU care, and drugs used during the operation. Sometimes, families end up topping up an extra 100,000, 200,000 Kenya shillings, depending on the patient's condition. So, like I said, Social Health Authority, also known as SHA, formerly NHIF, pays for the surgery at Kenyatta National Hospital. It covers the cost of the entire surgery, apart from the extra charges, which are consumables and ICU care and drugs, all that stuff. That's the only part that SHA doesn't cover, but the main surgery, SHA covers it. The next part, after now you're done with your surgery, is the hospital stay. You see, recovery means days in ICU, then weeks in the ward. While SHA cushions part of it, things like special nursing, certain antibiotics, and blood transfusions may not be fully covered by SHA. These hidden charges creep in slowly, draining the families. The next part of the process, which is now post-transplant medication. This is where the real weight lies. After a successful surgery, you must take lifelong immunosuppressants so that your body doesn't reject the new kidney. Monthly costs for post-transplant medication can range from 30,000 Kenyan shillings to 50,000 Kenyan shillings. And SHA does not cover everything. And remember, missing even a single dose of your immune suppressant can risk your new kidney. The next part of the process is the follow-up clinics and tests. Every few weeks, you will need blood tests, clinic visits, and sometimes readmissions for infections or complications that might arise here and there. Each of these visits carries its own bill, which will finally add up to the final tally. The next part of the process, the unspoken costs. Transport to and from the Kenyatta National Hospital is also a cost that should be factored in. Food for the caregiver should also be factored in. Time away from work, emotional strain on the family, and etc. All these are costs. They might not be financial, but they are costs. They are never written in hospital bills, but they are very, very real and heavy. At the end of the day, a kidney transplant is not just a medical procedure. It's a journey of hope, sacrifice, and faith. It's about families coming together, strangers donating life, and patients holding on to the dream of living free from dialysis. So, when I talk about the cost of a transplant at Kenyatta National Hospital, it's not just numbers. It's a lifetime commitment, financially, physically, and emotionally. But for those of us on dialysis, it's also the closest thing to a second chance in life. Thank you for watching. Until next time. Ciao.